Hello, award season fans, and fun little news here. The first event of award season has truly begun. We're truly beginning awards in October. Our first start of award season is always the Gotham Awards, and those came out earlier this morning. Neither of us have seen them. They were supposedly awards previously for independent film awards. They dropped the independent part and got rid of the budget cap, so you can get pretty much anything in there. I think it just depends on if the film submits themselves. So that's why
It's
we
still
don't.
mostly independent fare. I mean,
Yeah,
we're going to find out if that stays true. But last year, I
we
think
will.
Ryan Gosling and Barbie was really the only thing that came from a
He
major
was.
film.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm interested because I feel like this year, in particular, I feel like we do have a lot of independent films that I
Mhm.
don't think necessarily have been anointed yet by like the punditry apparatus. As far as like, there's a lot of films that I think are still jockeying to like get into position, because I don't think we have a front runner really for Best Picture, and that's rare. I mean, for
Not
the
really.
last couple years. So I'm excited to see like where's the independent minded sphere putting their energy towards. The Gothams aren't necessarily predictive, but they definitely give us a little
No.
tea leaf as far as like what
They're
already has a patina of support and what has awareness around it.
they're good at kickstarting certain things. Like they kickstarted Troy Kotsur for supporting actor. They
Hmm.
kickstarted Ki Hee Kwan and Everything Everywhere. And I think last year they were, well, they're the first, obviously, any year, but I think they were the first body to award Anatomy of a Fall Best Screenplay, which was pretty special early on. I don't think
Yeah.
that was predicted until it won the
Hmm.
Globe that most people got on that train. So they can definitely jumpstart a few things. So let's see what they've jump-started nomination-wise by pulling them up. Sure. I think there's only 5, so Honora makes sense.
Honora is going to be fun this season because it's going to be A-N, and like so if we don't see it at the beginning,
It's
we
gonna
know
be
to
at
be
the start
worried.
of everything. And
Yeah.
Baby Girl, an
Yay.
amazing recommendation here. One of my favorites of the year.
Mhm.
Wow. I love to see that. Hopefully Nicole Kidman and Harris Dickinson get in, but who knows? Challengers. These are like 3 of the best films of the year. These are 3 of my top 4.
Wow,
That's
man,
crazy.
this
Now
is
now
this
they
is
just need to
the
put Nickel Boys in there, and that's my top 4 films of the year.
this is the
Different.
millennial choice awards apparently. Oh
Yeah.
god,
Well, we're Gen Z, but yeah.
that's true.
Um,
Oh god, it's
and
so weird
Nickel
now the
Boys.
millennial. Oh my god.
They've got all of my top. Maybe A Different Man would be my 5th favorite film of the year if I saw it. Wow. That's my top 4, and I think that's it. Yeah. I'm very happy, obviously. These are all amazing films,
Wow.
so I'm happy to
I
see all of
feel
them. I think.
I don't know if that says whether we like whether our taste is changing or something. I don't know this feels very mainstream. I feel like I feel like usually there's a movie in here that nobody's like heard of.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah, usually there's that, like, I forget what it was last year, but usually there's, like, 1 or 2 that it's like,
mhm,
"That's the first time I've ever heard of this." So,
yeah.
this
I mean,
is pretty
the fact
mainstream.
that between the two of us, we've seen all of these movies, I feel pretty good about ourselves right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. Yeah. We're doing good this year. I feel like there's not a ton of late season stuff
Mhm.
left, only a few movies
Yeah.
for us. So, notably, I don't know if The Brutalist submitted itself because it does, well, there's no budget cap, but,
Mhm.
didn't make Best Picture here, but interesting. Neither did, Amelia Perez or anything like that, but I don't know.
But
We'll see
2
how
A24
they do this.
films, despite that, they have A Different
Yeah.
Man and Baby Girl, not Sing Sing and not The Brutalist, which you would imagine are the A24 like front runners among the studio. So that's
Yeah, no
interesting.
Sing Sing. I would think that this would be the body that goes for Sing Sing.
Yeah.
Interesting. But maybe they choose to give these other films love elsewhere. So let's see. International feature. This is hard to think about early on. This and documentary feature in particular. It's like, I don't know. All you imagine is like, yes, this has gotten
Mhm.
lots of buzz throughout the season. I'm excited to see it. Green Border, that I think that went to either Cannes or Venice and got good reviews. So yes, makes sense. Okay, that makes sense. I love Hard Truths, and it's technically international, I guess, because it's British. Yeah, it's a good pick. Good pick. Give it some love where it's eligible. And Inside the Yellow Cocoon Shell, there's one I haven't heard of. And Vermiglio, I have heard of this one. So
Mhm.
that's a good group here.
Yeah.
I think
Seed of the Sacred
name we're
Fig, I
missing
think is
is
the one would be surprising.
yeah, no Seed of Sacred Fig. So I imagine I don't know. Maybe All We Mansion Is Light is probably the front runner here, I guess, unless they choose to give it to Hard Truths. So yeah, good little group there. Documentary, like I said, this is hard to figure out at this time. So Dahomey, Intercepted, No Other Land, soundtrack to a coup d'etat,
Coup d'etat.
and oh yeah, that's what it is. Yes, coup d'etat, and Sugarcane. Yeah, that's it. I'm hearing lots of good buzz about No Other Land. I feel like that could potentially become a documentary front runner. So yeah, and I've heard great things about Dahomey too. So good
Well,
list of
Maddie
docs.
Diop, I'm confirming. Yes, she did Atlantics in 2019, which I know I got a
Oh
lot of
yeah,
good buzz.
best director. Oh, there we go. All We Imagine Is Light. Oh wow, this is. I guess we can just show all of them. I went too
Yes!
fast. John Baker. Oh, Jane Choburn for I Saw the TV Glow. Nice.
Woo!
Mel Ross for The Nickel Boys is the
Mhm.
best directed film of the year by a long shot, and I don't think anyone will beat him. So I'm happy to see him get recognized for that. Of course,
Wow,
Sean
you're
Baker.
okay. Because I've heard some, some people are polarized by it. So I'm
It's not going to work for some people. It's definitely um, experimental, but I just adored it. I feel like it appeals maybe to a certain taste more so than
yeah.
a more
I look forward to
broad
seeing it.
taste. It's great.
Um,
Yeah.
but I'm very
Yeah. This is
happy
a good
that
list.
I Saw the TV Glow was able to get hit. So A24, I mean, this is now the third film
Yeah.
that's gotten top recognition from Gotham's. And again, it's not the two that they're really pushing, but I mean, to me, I Saw the TV Glow is still number one for me of the year. I'm still so impressed with it.
Oh,
And
nice.
I would be rooting for Jane because I think it's just such a brilliantly directed original voice. And even though we're more familiar with Sean Baker's voice because he's been making movies for a longer time,
Mhm.
having seen Honora, I'm going to be really rooting for him anywhere I can because I think it's also a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant film. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so far so good. Okay, Gotham, so you're coming to play.
Yeah. They're keeping it independent. Like they're not putting in Brady Corbett for director
Mhm.
or Jack Audiard for Emilia
The,
Perez. So
this is feeling very young though, and I think this is what I think is
it
interesting is
is.
that are we going to see at the Oscars a movie like Conclave do so well because all of the other like Honora and Amelia Perez, which hasn't been mentioned here yet, but we can imagine will do very well at the Oscars. Like I do
Yeah.
think this is going to feel like a little bit like 2020, where it's going to trend younger, like when you had like Chloe Zhao and Emerald Fennell, and
Mhm.
you just had a much there weren't as many veterans this year. It's why I think maybe Baby Girl stands out because you have somebody like Nicole Kidman delivering one of her
Yeah.
best works. Angelina Jolie, I think, will also benefit from that.
Mhm.
So I'm very happy with this list.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I would guess. I don't know who they would give the win to. I hope they give it to Ramel Ross, but who knows? Maybe they give picture to Honora and then director to one of the other people. I think All We Imagine Is Light, Payal Kapadia getting in is because that is not able to get international feature. I think having and independent bodies continue to push for this will definitely help.
You mean at the Oscars, it's not allowed to get into independent?
Yeah, it
Okay,
India
so I
did
was like,
not.
we just read it on this list, so I'm like,
Yeah,
I think it got in.
yeah, not at the Oscars, it will not be eligible because that's their weird system. So, and then yeah, nice shout out for Guan Hu for Black Dog. A
Yeah.
little push for that. Best screenplay. We've got
Okay.
Between the Temples. Okay, I don't think I've heard of that. We've got Evil Does Not Exist. Nice.
Nice. Nice.
Femme. Oh, okay. I don't think I've seen that. Yeah, no, I haven't seen that yet. His Three Daughters. Oh, nice. That's a fun little film. And Janet Planet. So yeah, I think they use this
Another
category.
A24 movie. Wow,
A24
A24 is
does
doing
very well
really
here.
well.
I think they like to use
Um,
this category to shout out some films that they didn't recognize in these other
yeah.
categories, it seems like. From the ones I've seen,
Um,
I like them.
so
Interesting.
I'm
Yeah.
interested because this gives us our first opportunity to have this question. They might, as you just said, might use screenplay as a way to honor other movies that maybe don't rise to the occasion in direction or picture, but they want to make sure they give it attention. And Honora was already taken care of. But do you think that Sean Baker is going to be stronger in the screenplay categories throughout the season or the director categories throughout the season?
Screenplay. I feel like his
Okay.
competition there is he's against Brady Corbett in both of them, but what I've heard from the Brutalist is that's much more of a director film, whereas I think an original
Oh,
screenplay is
yeah.
more of a
Having
writer.
seen it, I think it's
Yeah.
definitely more of a director play.
Yeah, I feel like he's pretty
But
safe to win original screenplay, honestly.
I think it's really it's funny. It's gonna. I do think it'll come down to Gladiator 2 because I think Ridley Scott could really just upend everything
Really
if the
interesting.
movie performs.
Next category, breakthrough director. So we've got uh, um, Sushi Talati for Girls Will Be
Mhm.
Girls. We've got India Donaldson for Good One. Alessandra Lacaraza for In the Summers. Vera Drew for The People's Joker. And
Nice.
Madi Flefil for To a Land Unknown.
These breakthrough and first time director categories are ways to make sure that female directors get into the consideration without having to
Mhm.
say a best female director
Yeah.
category, which is actually like it is a clever way because honestly, all of these directors deserve to be have the attention around them and deserve this sort of consideration. And I do think that doing best female director is a it's counterproductive to what we're aiming for. So I just think because you look at the list throughout the years is that I do feel like they end up spotlighting more female directors than
This
male
year is
directors.
very male director as well. Like, I don't
Yeah.
think there's probably going to be a female director at the Oscars
Mm.
nominated. The best shot's probably, well, speaking of Courtney Fargier for The Substance, which has not
Yeah.
gotten a single thing here, so maybe not off to the best. So I feel like this would be a place to maybe honor it. So maybe not off to the best start, but we'll
Yeah.
see. We haven't got to the acting categories yet, which I think
Here we
might be
go.
a
So
shot.
now,
There's going to
real
be
quick,
10
there
gender
are
neutral.
10 gender
Yeah.
neutral. All right. I just want to make sure. Okay.
Lead and supporting. Yeah. So first off, we've got Pamela Anderson for The Last Showgirl. That's nice. She's very good in that film. Um, so The Brutalist was eligible. They just didn't give it director or picture or anything, but they
I'm t-
gave.
I'm telling you, I think it's been a little overhyped when it comes to
Okay.
that
I'm
part of it.
seeing I'm seeing honestly with both The Brutalist and Honora, people being like, this was overhyped to the people who are seeing them more recently. So
The difference I would say in Anora is that Anora at least is more entertaining. So I think people will come away
okay.
from that
Yeah.
movie and it's an hour shorter. So like
Yeah.
I do think the
It
experience
moves
of
quick.
Anora doesn't weigh on you in the way that the Brutalist does. I'm surprised though. I haven't seen the same level of pushback against Anora that I feel like is bound for the Brutalist because Brutalist coming out for Christmas. I don't know who wants to
Yeah.
spend 3.5 hours and be like
It's
bludgeoned.
asking a lot of its
It's
audience
asking
for
a
sure.
lot.
Definitely more
But
than
okay,
Honora.
Adrian Brody. Though as I said, I think the acting and particularly maybe
I
Brody
feel
will
like
be
I feel
strong
like he's
competition
pretty
for
locked
Academy.
up at this point. It's him or Ray Fiennes, I feel like. And I feel like the fact that the only thing they've honored this film for so far is Adrian Brody, I
Mhm.
think says a lot now.
Listen, I will take you back to 2018 where everybody was like, it's Bradley Cooper versus Christian Bale, and then Rami Malek came right at the end, and I think Timothy
Right, okay.
Chalamet could do the same
Interesting.
thing. We'll see.
Interesting. There,
If the
yeah.
movie's a big hit,
Recent,
then I think Chalamet has a chance. But if it's not, then Ray
yeah.
Fiennes.
He's doing some good campaigning with his arriving at his lookalike competition. So Coleman Domingo for Sing Sing. So that's the first shout
So
out
here
for
are the
this.
other two.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's the first, I think, like Brutalist, that's the first thing this film has been noticed for. But he's great in the movie. I recently finally saw the film, and he's
Yeah.
amazing in it
Yeah.
because they're bringing it out again. But yeah, he's great in it. I love the film. Hopefully, we see Clarence Macklin later on, but we'll see. Um, Marion John Baptiste for Hard Truths is the best performance of the year thus far, in my opinion. She's great, so I'm happy to see that. I think she's a real dark horse to get BAFTA and then Oscar nominated. Nicole Kidman, Baby Girl, once again, one of the best performances of the year. I love her in it. So
Jack, were
yeah,
you on the voting body for
I
this?
was. This is actually just my awards,
Are
in
you a
case you were
Gotham
curious.
voter?
I blackmailed them.
Oh
So yeah,
God.
I love this list so far. Everything I've seen, I've loved. I have not seen this. Keith. Oh, I've heard great things about this. Keith
I have too.
Kupfer for Ghostlight. I still need to see that, but people
It's
have
one of
raved
those
about
performances that I'm sure we'll catch up with. But it's like I didn't even see it, but good call,
it.
Gotham.
Good call. I've heard such good things that I'm sure it's a good choice. Um, Mikey Madison for Honora, of course, of course.
Yes.
How many do we have left? I haven't kept count. Let's
One,
see.
two, three,
There we
four,
go.
five, six,
Demi Moore
seven,
for The
eight.
Substance.
Two more.
8. 2 more. Demi Moore makes it in.
Nice.
I feel like this is because they don't do makeup at these kind of independent and critic awards. And we'll have a video talking about The Substance, what can actually get done at the awards season soon. So yeah, I feel like this makes sense. I feel like that's a good start. It would be a bad start if she missed here. So good thing
Mhm.
that she got here. Good start to her award season. Saoirse Ronan for The Outrun. Okay, or just
Okay.
Outrun, I guess.
It's the Outrun.
Okay, for Outrun. Yeah, that's a good start. I have doubts about her getting it for either of these films, but we'll see.
She
And
has a better chance for Blitz,
oh,
but I don't see the Outrun happening. Justice,
yeah,
yay!
I
Woo!
saw the TV glow. Yeah, this is a very good list. I can't
Nice.
think of anyone missing. I don't know if they're just not going for Amelia Perez or something. It seems like no Carla Sofia Gascon. Maybe we'll see in supporting if someone gets in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not seeing a ton of independent-minded films that are missing here, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I think as your review said about Amelia Perez, it could be it might not work for everybody.
It does not work for everyone, yeah, for sure.
But I do think that it I think when that movie starts to get going and like, Selena Gomez and Zoe Saldana and Carlos Sofia Gasson, once they start like getting out there, I do think they're a cast that like people are going to fall in love with the way that people
Yeah.
fell in love with the Coda cast, the Parasite cast. And so I it's not this isn't like the end all be all. Like in the way that if the Brutalist or Sing Sing didn't get in anywhere when other A24 movies were, I would start to be
Mhm.
a little worried. So it's good that they showed up here. Yeah, I see Saoirse Ronan showing up for Blitz, and
Mhm.
if not for Blitz, I don't see a world where I really don't think the Outrun is going to materialize for any major, awards
I don't
as
think
far as
so
the
either.
industry voting.
Yeah. I guess also recent trailer, Daniel Craig for Queer, who was on the edge for that fifth spot in actor. I
Yeah.
feel like it would have been a place to throw him a bone. But overall, great list. Who would you guess would win out of these 10 people?
Oh, don't ask me that. I mean, there's so many. There are so
Could they give
many.
it to Demi Moore?
They could. I mean, listen, I think Mikey Madison gives one of the best performances of the decade.
It's
So
where
I
they
could
want to
very well
award
see.
Honora, because
Yeah,
they could just do film and actress.
it's very
Or-
tough. I mean, you would think because the thing about the independent groups is that just because like the Brutalist or Sing Sing, let's say these are the only nominations for them, that does not mean that they can't win in these categories because you're dealing with a smaller group who is more likely going to see all of the contenders. This isn't like the 10,000 Oscar voters who only see the Best Picture nominees. So that's why I find predicting these to be very tough. I mean, I could make an argument for all of these people. Maybe not Saoirse Ronan. that's the one that I'm pretty
No.
confident won't happen. We have to still see a complete unknown, but I feel like there's not a lot of movies this year that are in the conversation that are going to piss people off. Like there aren't a lot of Green Books and Bohemian Rhapsody,
Amelia Perez might make some people mad, I feel like.
but not in this. I would not put that in the same category as Bohemian Rhapsody. Like that might piss people off in other regards, but like
Mhm.
that's not a Green Book. Like, oh, really? That's such an expected choice. Like if Amelia Perez gets any attention, that is not an expected choice. Like that is a wild out there movie.
So now off to supporting, we've got Yuri Borzov for Nora. He's great in that film. It's hard to pick a favorite. So I feel like that's going to be the issue for a lot of the supporting actors in this film because you got Karen Karagulian, you got Mark Eidelstein. They're all great in the film. So, but
Yeah.
he's also great. He's kind of people have said the heart in some ways.
I think he's the most surprising performance in the
He
movie.
is. Yeah. Kieran Culkin for A Real Pain makes sense. He's I think a front runner in that category.
Yeah. I'm waiting for the box office for this movie.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We shall see. Dale Deadweiler for The Piano Lesson. This will be interesting
Nice.
for her because she's in the interesting case where she is really the only chance the film has at any sort of awards. So she could still
Which does
get in
not
there like
bode well.
Daniel Brooks for A Color Purple, but it definitely brings her on the edge of potentially missing, which would be rough after she also missed for Till. So we'll see.
I feel bad that she's always been like, it's
On
you
the
or
edge.
bust.
Yeah.
I will say though, I would advise not to compare The Piano Lesson to The Color Purple because I would say up until like maybe like 2 weeks before, people were not thinking The Color Purple was only going to get one nomination. It was a movie that people were
Mhm.
going to because they thought it could get into picture and actress and crafts and songs.
Yeah.
So the fact that it ended up only getting the Daniel Brooks nomination was just because it fizzled out. The Piano Lesson is basically entering the season with the idea that it will only get this one nomination. That's a completely different thing. And it's the same thing that Till ran into, where it was like, it's this category or bust. And if people don't want to turn in because they have the other high priority screeners of the movies that are up for picture and director, she could fall through again, which would be
I feel like
unfortunate.
sometimes when it's just that one nomination, It's sometimes like a surprise, like Brian Tyree Henry and Causeway. It's not like something that you saw coming.
Yeah, that's
So we'll
fair.
see.
And you got your Maria Bakalovas and Borat. It
Mhm.
happens. But if she misses, I don't think it has anything to do with her. It's because the
No,
movie just people didn't think it
the
was
movie's
worth
not great.
their time. Which
She's
then we
the
would
best
have
part
to
of it.
examine. Why is it always, Daniel Deadweiler? Why is it always these sort of movies that get passed over in this way? That's a broader question that
For sure.
we would have to discuss. So anyway,
Yes.
but I'm
More
glad
to
to see you here.
discuss. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, Bridget Lundy Payne for I Saw the TV Glow.
Let's
Great performance.
go.
Great performance in that film. Um, Natasha Lyonne for His Three Daughters, I think, is definitely the one that is going to be getting the push out of the three.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's great in the movie. All of
Though
them
she
are
was
great.
neither one of ours favorites.
No, no, she wasn't. So we lucked out in that way. But I think she seems to be most people's favorites. So
Yeah.
we're in
I
the
mean, they're all great.
minority. They're all great. Yeah, it's a great ensemble. Yeah, so great nomination. Clarence Macklin for Sing Sing. Thank God.
Nice.
Yeah, I think if that film comes back around, I think he's definitely a threat to win because he's got the narrative.
Ooh, wow. Okay. I mean, I would be surprised at this point because people seem to like dropped him from the conversation.
Yeah, I think
Everybody's
they
like
have to bring the
September
movie back.
5th, this flashy little thing that
Oh
has
God,
two
we'll talk.
contenders.
Yeah, I don't believe that. But yeah, who knows? Katie O'Brien for Love Lies Bleeding. That's a great pick. Lots
Oh,
of A24
nice.
once again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, great pick. Guy Pearce for The Brutalist. Okay. So I don't think they'll
I
do
see it.
Felicity Jones. It seems like no, they've passed the J.
Yeah, which I
Category.
mean,
So
to be
yeah,
honest, I will understand if Guy Pearce gets a lot of support, and I think he's a wonderful. I mean, going back to freaking
he's a great
Memento.
actor.
I mean, he's fantastic. Um, I think Felicity Jones has the harder role in that movie, and I
Mhm.
think she honestly, my favorite scene is all because of Felicity Jones. So
Oh, nice.
that's who I would get behind. But uh, but I'm also listen. I'm more mixed on the Brutalist as a whole. So maybe for people who love the Brutalist, they're gonna go Guy Pearce and Brody. I
Yeah,
just tend to like the women more.
yeah.
I'm just
I
noticing
think
about
both of
myself.
us tend to like actresses more than
Yeah,
actors in
yeah.
general. Um, Brian Terry Henry once again. Okay, we were just talking about him for The Fire Inside. He's good. He's the best part of the film. The film's a little. It's just okay to me, but he is definitely the standout. He's great in it. He's Brian Terry Henry. So who knows? Maybe he can pull a Causeway again. And is that it? That is it.
That's it.
Um, Anyone missing? I can't really think of it. So I mean, pretty much, it seems like Amelia Perez is not going to get any,
Well,
which is fine. It doesn't need to do incredible here.
yeah. Yeah, it's a little odd that it hasn't showed up in any capacity. I think the kind of I don't know if it's a surprise, but I think Jeremy Strong not being here for The Apprentice, I think
True, and no,
says
um, Sebastian
I
either.
yeah, but Sebastian Stan I understand a little bit. Like Jeremy Strong is not playing the most ubiquitous individual of the
Mhm.
21st
But they
century.
could have done it for either Sebastian Stan performance.
They
They
could they
clearly
could
like
have.
a different.
Yeah, that's true. And maybe they took him out. Maybe there was support
Yeah,
for both,
true.
Amy Adams himself. But I'm surprised because Jeremy Strong, I do think is the stronger contender from The Apprentice. Didn't get in. I am interested if that film will have a different perspective and potentially a
Af
resurgence after the election when
It
people
depends on
know
the election.
people have compartmentalized their thoughts. So we'll
Mhm,
see. But yeah, I would say that's a movie that I think would benefit organizations like this supporting. And so
mhm.
I think it's gonna be hard for him to surmount that. He'll have
Yeah.
to make way
Also,
for little brother Roman.
yeah, he's definitely the front runner of the two of them.
Like
Yeah.
it I don't know how you have a supporting performance list without Mark Eidelstein.
Mm.
So I'm preparing myself already
Yeah.
that might not happen, and he might be the
It seems
Dominic
like
Sessa of this
yeah,
season. But I'm
he
really
is.
hoping he's
I think he'll get some notices, but it seems like Uri may get more. It seems like he's might become the standout of the
not.
supporting actors.
It could switch. I could see like
But
this is the type of performance that gets it from this crowd, but then when they start to go
mhm.
for the industry, I do think if they're smart, they will push the two of them together. They will push Mikey with Mark,
And I
and
think it could win SAG Ensemble, honestly. I feel like the ensemble's great. It's up
yeah,
against Sing Singer or Amelia Perez, which are
or
both iffy.
Conclave. It's going to be a real strong
Or
year for
Conclave.
SAG
I don't know if that would
Ensemble.
win though.
But I think
We'll see.
I would put my money behind Amelia Perez for SAG Ensemble.
Yeah.
But I think if they're smart, they will campaign Mikey and Mark together. And and like they'll do interviews together. Like that,
Mhm.
I think that's what you just got to do.
Yeah, I
Just
agree.
I don't know, and not again nothing against Borisov because I think he might have the toughest scene of
Yeah,
anybody, but it's
yeah,
I mean in my perfect world right now all three of them get in.
yeah, yeah. They're all great. Yeah.
Oh
And I
god.
did just notice, tragically, my favorite supporting actress performance of the year, Andre Taylor, is not in here,
Oh,
sadly.
and Harris
Sad.
Dickinson is not here.
Oh my God, and no Harris Dickinson. Ah, those are two of the. Harris Dickinson is so good in that film. He's equally as important to it working as Nicole Kidman, but I feel like he's going to be just not happen. But Andre Taylor, I think, will happen. I just guess not here, but I feel like she's people. I guess oversold how small of a role it is. She's got 3 scenes where it's like a monologue into the camera for multiple minutes. It's like
Mhm.
it's an acting showcase.
So can I ask, just because I haven't seen the film yet. I've heard some people don't like it, but I've heard a lot of
Yes.
people do. Like yourself.
It's going to be a
Is
passion
it
pick, which I think means it's still
is
going to
it
get it.
a situation like if Beale Street Could Talk, where it's of course respected from the independent circles, but it's not something that really can cross over, and that it doesn't really get the all around support that it needs? Because that's what I'm worried about now. Is that it's maybe not it's also not the depiction of race that the Academy will be able to get behind.
Um, I don't think so. I feel like just because compared to Beale Street, I feel like the wording lots of people are, and I agree with for this film, it's like monumental, it's like groundbreaking, it's like a completely different perspective and change on film that like hasn't been done before. I feel like that along with I'm seeing at least I don't completely remember 2018, but I'm seeing a lot more people like saying this is the best of the year. Like this isn't going
Yeah.
to be topped. I think it's going
And
to be a passion pick more so than that film
it
was.
helps too that Ramel Ross is not coming off of a Best Picture
Mhm.
winning one of the greatest
Not that
movies of
standard. Yeah.
ever. Yeah. So that helps him too. Okay, just something to keep in mind. All right,
Yeah, it's
let's
definitely
keep going.
and breakthrough performer, Lily Collins for a good one. Ryan Destiny for
Read,
The Fire Inside.
I almost read that as Lily Collins. I'm like, I think
No,
she's broken through.
just one letter off, but yes. Ryan Destiny is great in The Fire Inside. Maisie Stella for My Old Ass. I still need to see that.
I was mixed on the film, but I thought she was very great.
Nice.
She was good.
Isaac Wong for
Isaac
Dee Dee.
Wang,
Great. Isaac
yes.
Wang for Dee Dee. Yeah. No Joan Chen. You would have think maybe they could have thrown her bone in supporting.
Oh, I
But
was like, I also don't think she's a breakthrough performer, but in
no,
supporting
no.
performance, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, they went for like Love Lies Bleeding, and I saw the TV Glow. Those are some outside of the picks,
Yeah.
outside of
Yeah. Good
I like
picks.
that.
Oh, and yes, Brandon Wilson for Nickel Boys is so. I mean, Entrepreneur Taylor is, I think, my favorite, but both of those lead performances are insanely good. It's
Mhm.
crazy. They're some of the best performances of the year, in my opinion. So I like
I
to
wonder
see
why
him
that's
win. But yeah,
5. That's interesting.
yeah. Who knows? Who knows why they do what they do? So I feel like that's. Oh, yeah.
Is
There
that
we
it?
go. That's it. That's it.
All
We have
right.
completed it. I'm going to
Uh,
ask you once again, who's winning supporting performance?
oh God.
I'm going to
I don't
say
know.
Clarence Macklin
Why
or
not?
Kieran Culkin. One of those two.
I, I think any of these movies could. I mean, this is listen, as
But I
I
feel
say
like
all the time, I took like almost a decade of my life dedicated to studying the Oscars so that I can make valuable and knowledgeable opinions about that one show. I can't then just like
these
switch
are
a cog.
impossible to predict.
It's
So
impossible.
yes, they're done by like committees and different groups for different categories. So yeah, it's impossible to predict. So, but yeah, those are the Gotham Awards overall. I'd say very good. Like my four of my favorite film, my top four films of the year are in best film. So I'm going to be happy. Interesting. Challengers only got best film, nothing else.
Wow.
So
Yeah. Huh.
interesting for
So
that.
we can
But
assume that
I'm glad I
there, I
got
can
some.
predict that. That won't win. There we go. There's my
No,
prediction.
that will not win. I would guess Honora would probably win, or I would love
That's
to see
actually
Nickel Boys.
that's really surprising that Challengers got in, but I saw the TV Glow got director, actor, and supporting
Or
actor.
yeah,
Hmm. It's odd.
who knows? But I think, like I
Okay.
said, it's each category. I think is done by a different group of people, so
Yeah.
that might
And
be
I
why.
mean, listen, Challengers is in my top 4 so
Mm.
of the year so far. So
Maybe
um
at the Oscars it just gets Best Picture. I'd be okay with that happening. But great start to the awards season. Comment who you guys think are winning in these categories below if you can. It's kind of hard to do. Like the video, subscribe, and yeah, happy start of award season, guys. We're starting it up, so stick
Appreciate
around.
it.
Stick around. You want to see our talking about all of these different things. So,
Mhm.
yeah. Thank you all, and goodbye.